What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Unatletico Madrid podcast, because that's what you're really here for. You're here to hear updates about our rec league soccer team, not Lexington Sporting Club. You want to know how we're faring, how we're doing, how everything's going with our team. It's going great. We had our second practice. We all had like some shining moments. We're basically going to take the league by storm. At least that's my thought. Dylan picked up an injury, but we're going to get him back to full health. We're going to go see the athletic trainers and get him all like the special serums and like lotions. I don't know, whatever they use, the strange things. Yes, we're going to roid you up. You weren't supposed to say that. Now they're going to check when we go to our rec league game, and you're going to get banned. Like, you're supposed to keep that under wraps, man. I don't know what you're doing here. But no, like it was fun. We had our second practice. We got a game next week, so we're gonna update you guys and see how we actually do when it's go time. But we got the whole crew, full crew tonight. Last time we did a very women's team focused pod. Today we're gonna try and focus on the men's side. So USL 2, USL Championship. First, let's check in with everybody. Jessica, how you doing?
I think our house will now just constantly smell like menthol from the biofreeze that I have to put on my sore legs. But other than that, good. Walking is a challenge.
Yeah, that's true. You talking about the house smelling like menthol? I was like, am I like visiting my grandma's house or something?
Well, no, that's like the main. That's like the main ingredient in biofreeze. It's
yeah.
Not like cigarettes.
Thought she was ripping heaters in her own home.
What?
He's using his young kid lingo on us. It's okay.
Okay.
Ripping darts.
Yeah, I'm a ripping darts guy myself.
Okay.
What?
Yeah. There you go.
Heaters.
Heaters. Darts.
I am so clueless right now.
Sure,
cigarettes. Cigarettes,
which we don't endorse. Bad for you. Boo. Yeah. Anyway, Dylan, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Like you said, I'm feeling it. I picked up an injury, but we prevail. I also, guys, there's something that you guys, I don't know if you know about, but it's really, really important. So we have a big fan of the podcast, Tim Meadows, right? And he listens to the podcast on his way to work. And on his way to work, his daughter falls asleep every time they listen to the podcast. So, Deanna, if you're listening, don't fall asleep. We know that you are trying to fall asleep right now. So do not stay awake and listen to our podcast. Tim,
compliment.
Thank you for everything you do.
It's because we're soothing. It's our soothing nature. That's all it is, Dylan. It's good. This is a good thing. Yeah,
Man.
But yeah. Stay awake or sleep. I don't know. Like, I just kind of feel like when you're asleep, you're doing that thing like people that used to have like the language learning software, and you go to sleep while it's playing so you can absorb all the language learning. That's what they're doing
there
with
you
this.
Go. That's what Deanna's doing.
Yeah, something like that. And they're absorbing all of the LSC content through sleep, and then they wake up spouting out facts or ranting. I don't know. Depends on the pod and the vibes for the day.
Deanna probably wakes up in the middle of the night and she's like, Nick Firmino.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, what's happening? Like, it's just a banger of a goal in my dreams. Kyle, how about you, man?
It's a fantastic time right now in our household. You all know, the listeners might not. I'm obviously a very big Pacers fan. I'm sure this is exactly where you thought I was going to take this when you asked me how I'm doing. So, as of this recording, it's 1-1 in the NBA Finals. It's unbelievable that the Pacers are even at this point. We'll see. The Thunder are an absolute wagon, so we'll see if we can keep things alive heading back to Indy for Game 3. But yeah, it's it's been a fun ride for that team. So I'm just keeping hope alive for the old Pacers, and otherwise just getting ready for summer.
That's exactly where I thought you were going.
Yeah.
You said exciting time in your family, and I'm thinking like, maybe on the way.
No, okay, you're right. I did also get a truck. So that
he did get a new car. Yeah,
it was nice. I checked it out. It was pretty good.
So it's
I told them that when it was time to move.
New vehicle, and then yes, we are expecting our first child in November. So that's pretty cool too. But yeah, so times are a little crazy over here in the old Piercy household. But we're enjoying every minute of it. So hopefully everything goes smoothly and we can enjoy these summer months. And yeah,
it sounds like a great name, Tyler
don't
Piercy.
even. That is my brother's name, and so off the table.
But then you can honor him. But really, you're honoring me. But you're honoring him.
No, my brother's name is Tyler. I've never met a Tyler that I'm just cool with, But one day, I think we'll meet. Also, we're having a girl, so it'd be. I mean, I guess there's probably some.
I've met a girl, Tyler.
Girl.
Yeah.
So nice try there, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, Jessica's a good name. Just saying.
Yeah.
Putting that out there.
I'll take it into consideration.
Yeah.
Dylan, do you have any names that I'm absolutely not going to use, or do you just
Cole Palmer, Piercy sounds pretty good to me.
Cole Palmer. Piercy.
Well, I was wondering if because of the recent run, I was like, does Tyrese Halliburton Piercy make sense? Like that doesn't sound right.
No.
And then I'm like, Jean-Philippe, no, so when I purchased my vehicle, I'm literally sitting in the dealership watching the Crystal Palace FA Cup finals. It was pretty exciting time. But
I mean, yeah. Jean.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace FA Cup champion Piercy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad she'll never know a world where Crystal Palace doesn't have a major trophy. So
it's true.
The dark times are over. But
yeah,
enough about me.
Yeah, enough about you. Enough about you. Cause come on, Kyle. You're important.
You asked what I was doing.
Whatever, dude. No, we're super happy for you. It's gonna be awesome. We can't wait to just have her take over your spot on the pod and provide some valuable insight. That's our number one goal.
She'll probably be bald, right
immediately.
Yeah. So would fit right in.
Yeah,
it's true.
There you go.
Kind of puts Jessica on the outs though. Anyway, we go. Well, let's get into some LSC stuff. Now that we talked about some exciting times coming. Okay. Before we get into USLC, I actually want to talk a little bit about USL 2. It's because this is honestly, I don't want to say it's the highlight of my week because it's summer and I get to spend every day with my family. But it is so nice whenever we see the USL 2 team getting ready to play a match, and I'm like, they're going to win. They're going to win, or at least draw. It'll be fine. They're going to stay undefeated. And I'm not just telling myself that. I truly, wholeheartedly, 1,000,000% believe that they're going to go out there and they're going to bring home some points, no matter where they're going. So our USL 2 team is doing amazing. Again, we've plugged this a million times, abbreviated season. Out of our division, we're in the Valley Division. There's one team that's doing slightly better, and that's Fort Wayne FC. We are neck and neck with them. So they've got 16 points out of 6 games. We've got 14 out of 6 games. Goals allowed, we've both only allowed 4 goals. Goal differential, they've scored 11. We scored 8. So right there on their heels. The rest of the group, not so much. Kingshammer out of Cincinnati, they've got 5 points. West Virginia United has 4. Kingshammer out of Columbus has 1. Dayton Dutch Lions, they have 1. So it kind of feels like out of our group, it's a neck and neck race between us and Fort Wayne, which is not a position we're used to being in. We're kind of running away with it and just kind of have to handle them. If we can handle them, we'll be fine. Which, I mean, our time that we played them, it was a draw, right? If I remember correctly, we ended up sharing the points. So we got to stay on this run. But I just love tuning in whenever the app works. We talked about this. The app can be a little weird. But whenever you get on there and you actually can watch, or when you get a chance to go in person, I feel like it's really exciting football. It's always just action-packed, and I feel like we're always on the front foot, and we always have a plan, and it is so nice, especially because we've kind of switched around players from game to game, but it feels very plug and play with that crew. I think everybody's a well-oiled machine when they get out there together, and it's really showing. So USL 2, I don't know about you guys, but that's kind of my saving grace for the club right now.
It's the bright star at the moment for the club. It's really nice. And yeah, shout out to Griffin Huff. He's doing a great job for playing keep for them as well. He's come in a few times, and so yeah, shout out to him and all the guys really out there are, man, it's fun to watch. Like they play some like high tempo, high pressing ball. When they don't get the ball, they get it back, or they at least try to get it back pretty quickly. They take shots, they play as a team too, which is really cool. Yeah, I'm a fan of them. I haven't been able to go to them in person yet, but I've like tried to. Yeah, like you said, the app is finicky too. So
Yeah.
like as much as I can try to like catch them on the app, I do. So yeah, it's a good time.
I love it. I'm hoping we can keep this streak alive. It would be amazing if we could have them continue on, eventually get into the playoffs, do their thing there. The most exciting thing about it, though, isn't just that we're like doing well on the table. It kind of gives you this feeling that maybe there's some talent that we can look to for the future and be like, hey, we had them on the USL2 squad and they were cooking. Like maybe we need to pull them up. Maybe they need to appear on the championship squad or at least train with them to see what they've got at that level. And you have somebody you can invest in for later, have them join up, maybe diamond in the rough type situation. So I don't know. It's kind of the same thing with W League, right? You always look to your W League and you're like, all right, who's coming through? But I'm psyched. I hope to catch some games in person. It's not worked out so far, but what I've seen through the stream, whenever it does cooperate, has been really, really good stuff. So we'll see.
I still want to know like who's scoring and stuff. So like if there can be like a breakdown when they make posts and stuff, like who got those goals, that'd be really cool because I'm very interested, especially because they're doing so well. Like I want to know who these guys are, and like Tyler said, if like they have the potential to move up, and if we're going to be hearing their name on a basis, on a regular basis of some sort, it would be nice to put some names to faces and whatnot. So yeah,
that is a tricky part of it. You're right, man, because I feel like in the past we've gotten lots of really good updates with W League and USL2. And W League currently don't have a ton of updates. It's pretty much just like, here's the lineup. Hey, guess what? Here's the score. And that's kind of it. Luckily, a lot of other teams have people working around the clock to provide like at least score updates, if nothing else, in real time so you can see what's happening. So that's been kind of nice. So I don't know. My advice to anybody that's really wanting to know at this point is just to like put on notifications for the opposing team on like Twitter or something. And then that way, every time they give an update, you've got it right there. That's what I've been doing so I can stay on top of everything until our own club is able to replicate that and generate some hype. Which, I mean, at this point, it's like you'd hope that we'd want to ride that wave, that positive wave with USL2, with all like the things going on with all the other parts of the club. That's our bright spot, right? It's our thing that we have. So
I will say too,
know.
a lot of the other clubs, like this is their senior men's team, so they're going to put a little bit more. So but to your point, Tyler, like it's worth going to check out. That's one thing I noticed with the club when we launched the W League. We obviously put resources into it, but there's other clubs that like this is the pinnacle of their pyramid, and so that's where they kind of focus a lot of resources. So yeah, it's sometimes you can find some good coverage from other teams.
Absolutely. So USL2, please stay on this run. Please be our bright spot forevermore. It's so like surreal to actually have that right now, and I hope they can continue. It's gonna be great.
Our next, I was gonna say their next home game is, and last game is a home game on June 25th at 7 p.m.
Yep. We'll have another opportunity to see them. I hope that they can handle business away and then come back and still ride that hot hand whenever we are there. I want to be there in person, hopefully. Although that might be our vacation week. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe I'll just skip vacation. So I won't do that. I won't do that. That's listening. A lie. No, not right now. Actually, she might be from the other room and she'll be like, "We're not skipping vacation. What are you talking about?" And she's gonna kick in the door in any moment now. So if the screen goes black, you know what happened to me. Can't help it. Look, before we move into USLC, I know this is like a hard gear shift. Did you guys catch? I know the finals are tonight. I have not looked at the scores because I want to go back and see it. You guys have been watching TST, right?
Yeah, watch
bit
the
here and
first
there?
couple days, a little
Yeah.
bit more, but as it has gone on, I've definitely fallen off. And I
Yeah.
really,
Same.
really
Same.
tried to stay like in tune with the people that we were familiar with. And
Yeah.
I watched the girls, the three of them. That was really fun rooting for them. But yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, you're good. That's what I was asking. I was the same way. I was very locked in with all the games with our former players, or players that are greens. So it was kind of a bummer to see each of them like fall out. I was like, oh man, like it was real tough with the Reggae Rovers, and then seeing Amal's crew. They were up on the opposition, and then they went into target score time, and then they ended up getting beat, and it was just like, ugh.
It was a
You could
bummer.
just you could just tell like the team kind of thought they had it in the bag, and so they let off the gas, and then next thing you know, everybody in the brothers like shooting shots at them all, and it's like, and then it stinks that all of our other greens got knocked out too. Of course, we had like OG Cesar Murillo. He gets knocked out the same round with Villarreal CF. They ended up losing. Our trio of greens from the Super League team. They got knocked out too. It just, man, I was really, really hoping we'd be able to see one of them claim the prize, and then you could at least be like, boom, they played for our team, which it was really cool every time they mentioned us. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I couldn't watch it with the sound on because I'd be like putting the kids to bed or something, and I'd be like, all right, silent. But I really enjoyed a lot of the commentary because I can't remember who it was, but there was one match I was watching, and the commentator was really unhinged. It was like listening to myself talk because he kept bringing up these obscure references, and they were just like rapid fire, and you could just tell like his ADHD was firing on all cylinders during that match, and he was just saying the wildest things, and I was like, but I appreciate that, man. I'm on the same wavelength. I get that reference. I know what's happening. So it was really cool because not every match had a commentator that was like really engaging. So for as cool as the match was, you'd have somebody be like, all right, they kicked the ball. Oh, target score time, you all. They just lost a player. And then you have like some of them losing their minds like him. And those were the fun ones. I loved tuning into those commentators and listening to them because it really is like some of the matches are so fast paced and so chaotic that I kind of want a chaotic commentator. I'm not going to lie. Like you kind of need it to keep the vibe of what they're trying to present to you and try and sell to you going. So those were my absolute favorite whenever we had some of those.
I feel like if you're gonna like not change the rules necessarily, but if you're gonna, I don't know, go off the rails a little bit in terms of the format, it's like 6v6 with keepers. Like you're changing so much, why not make it more fun from like
Yeah.
a presentation standpoint? So yeah, that makes sense to me too. Like you might as well kind of have more fun with it, a little bit looser, a little bit more over the top, maybe too, with some of the announcers. I think I'm all for that for sure.
Yeah.
And it was cool. There are a couple fans or LSC fans that were able to go and talk to the women and kind of catch up with them, and it seemed like it was a lot of fun. I know, Tyler, you mentioned you didn't get a chance to go to this year, but you normally try. And watching it
Yeah.
has made me want to try to go. I think it'd be really fun.
CKL trip next year. Let's go.
Whoop,
That
whoop.
would be so much fun to just go. Like I don't know. Like I said, it feels like a music festival, but with soccer. And you just like go around, bounce through, and see all the different players play. And you got like all these legends, either past or present, that are popping onto the field. You got celebrities. Although last year I feel like had way more celebrities like outside of soccer that were involved. This year it was more of like if you're tuned into soccer, you know these people. Last year it was like crazy with like Chad Ochocinco, and then you have Pat McAfee and all them competing, and which had its novelty. I did appreciate like all
Did you
that
say
like actual
McAfee?
soccer players this year though. So I'm
How did
torn.
you
Both
say
are
his
good.
name? What did you
Huh?
say, McAfee?
Yeah, you did.
Oh yeah, did I?
What is
My
this?
bad. My bad. Yeah, I know. I know.
That's like
McAfee.
Kyle's hero.
I know.
Well,
Sorry,
I
Kyle.
mean, I will say, obviously, Pacers fan, Colts fan. I love Pat McAfee. Fantastic, fantastic entertainment
Persona.
Look,
personality. I'm not always super on board with a lot of his shtick, but yeah, he's an Indiana legend, man. Come on,
Look, I know
McAfee.
I can
That's like
say Sophie Jaffa, and that's all I need to know. Like that's the only name I need to know how to pronounce right. Sophie Jaffa.
And a Dadekin.
Yep. Boom. Look at that. Look at us. We're winning over here. The real superstars. We know how to pronounce their name. So just so we know.
Speaking of championship.
Yes. Sad. Sad emoji. Sad emoji. Dang it. Like we haven't had a chance to talk about championship in like 3 games. And it's just been like
Because it's depressing.
I mean, like, okay. First off, let's talk about big depressing stuff, right? So even before we get into the games, we had a bunch of departures this past week. So Yannick is gone, Cam is gone. Cam went to Lou City on loan. Like we all know what that means. That's permanent. Like, come on. Yannick off into the ether. Who knows? He's gonna pop up somewhere balling out. And then of course we have Elliot Goldthorpe, which I think that one sent the biggest ripples through the fan base to have him just right off to Tulsa. And the worst part about it, it's kind of a bummer, is that it just was in rapid succession. And like with the Yannick one, it was on the website, but there wasn't like a social media post, which I know that there are things at play with that, right? It's tricky behind the scenes, because people are going on vacations. It's kind of tough to get everything in sync, but still, it's a real bummer when you have players that are just out of the blue being shipped off, and then you hear it from other teams or through the grapevine. It's really, really tough, and I know a lot of fans took that really, really hard. I don't know. With Cam, it kind of felt like there's potential there. Yannick, I mean, let's be honest, like you hadn't seen or heard from him in forever. Like he'd pop up in a random training montage here and there, but otherwise you would never know he existed. So it was pretty clear that he wasn't a part of the plan. So that wasn't really that much of a shocker, I don't feel. Elliot, kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. I know fans love him. I know we love him. I know everybody thought that he could be a starter for us and that he had really, really high end quality. And then we go and ship him off to a West Coast opponent that's in our conference, just like we did with Luke Stoffer. So, I don't know what the deal is with us deciding that Tulsa gets all of our players, but apparently, like anybody that we like, Tulsa's going to get them. I guess that's just the jam. I don't know. What are you guys' reactions in the sense of what's the biggest loss?
I think Goldthorpe is definitely the biggest loss. I mean, I felt like he had a pretty big presence in our team. Just the amount of minutes he was getting and, the impact he did have when he was on the field, it always felt like he was a positive force for us. I mean, every podcast of ours, when he touched the ball, we were always rave about him, So that one is honestly the most puzzling. And then, to the others, exactly to your point, Yannick is like, he's just a ghost now to us. He just doesn't exist anymore, like you said, Tyler. And Cam is like, yeah, that one just kind of like felt like, yeah, he's kind of on the back end of his career. So like, let him just go be happy in his home or something like that. He wasn't getting the minutes here anyway. They try to sprinkle him in and, it wasn't really worth it for him or us probably. So let him go be happy somewhere else. The Goldthorpe thing just doesn't make any sense. And it's a real head scratcher for me. I know it's a real head scratcher for virtually everyone else, whether they're on this podcast or they're listening to this podcast. Complete head scratcher. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add to that. Completely agree.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say too, like with some of the players who were part of like the previous regime, so to speak, it's less surprising. But Goldthorpe, like there were some matches where, I mean, I think of the Open Cup match, the loss against Columbus Crew, where I mean that was a match where like you don't. I feel like you don't see this a lot in soccer, where there's like one player that seems like something like he can get something going. Like they were like feeding him the ball. Like if it wasn't him on the left side, it wasn't happening at all. And obviously that was still a loss, and it didn't matter. But I feel like there are games where it was like him or nothing, or at least moments
Mhm.
in games, not entire games, matches, but like stretches at least, where it's like if he doesn't have anything going, then the attack is just dead. So yeah, that
Yeah.
one was surprising, especially for a team that has searched and searched and searched for offensive options.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question? From your experience, how often does a team like during a season make this many transaction moves?
I think it really kind of depends on the league, but I also feel like for us, there's a lot of moves where it's like that person could probably contribute quite a lot. We never really got to see what Yannick could do. So
Mm,
there's
Mhm.
a ton of question marks on that because we saw his quality last year. Like when he was with us, he was balling and he was off a lot with his national team. So I don't know if maybe that kind of caused complications or what's going on, or maybe the vibes weren't there. But like, I feel like he could have really done something with the level of talent that we brought in, and we just never heard from him, which is
Mhm.
strange. Um, and then Elliot, how much he was contributing. Some people obviously writings on the wall, and that's the same with any other team, any other league. But then sometimes you're just like, what the heck? And so
let,
I think it is strange to see that in that regard.
let me like rephrase, because when I mean transaction, I mean we have brought in players as well this
Yeah,
season. So we're importing and exporting right now.
yeah,
And it's like a crazy amount like mid-season. And there's the old adage, don't switch horses midstream. We're
yeah,
switching a lot of our horses.
Kind of
yeah,
like we did with the Super League,
yeah. It's true. Well,
and it didn't translate.
no. I mean, 100% agree, Jessica. Like the not translating. So then it like begs the question of like, okay, we got rid of three people. Are we just gonna kind of like hang out with that? Are we gonna bring in brand new talent from somewhere else, or are we gonna recall somebody else that's on loan? So like for instance, Azad Liati's been informed. He's been doing pretty good as far as goal contributions go for Portland. I feel like he's been doing pretty decent for a team that's not necessarily like firing on all cylinders, but like he's had plenty of contributions in that regard. Ates, like he's in and out of the 18 for Detroit, and that could be up to a variety of factors. But who knows? Maybe it's like, all right, maybe it's time to just see what he can do for us again. Or Nico. Like it begs the question of like, did us bringing back Medence maybe open our eyes a little bit and say, you know what, we should pull back a couple of these loans. They're out there getting minutes. Let's bring them into the system and see what they can do now that they're warmed up and ready to go. I don't know.
I like the watching the game. I'm not talking about like into the game yet, just talking about what the announcer said. The announcers mentioned our sporting director, Sam Doer, who is kind of like shadow commissioner of LSC, because he's not really been mentioned at all. But if you really have a keen eye or ear, you know about Doer. And honestly, he's just been a clown for LSC. Like seriously, he's making all these crazy moves mid-season. He has no rhyme or reason, and like just bringing in people to replace people, and the players will feel that, and then they'll want to go somewhere else because they're not feeling the love like they did when they first got here, right? That's probably why Goldthorpe wasn't feeling it. We're bringing in like Adadakin, right? And Goldthorpe probably felt replaced, which like we just referenced the women's team, right? And that's probably how the women have felt too. And like Boss clearly isn't the guy, right? That was not a good hire, right? In my opinion. I'm not going to speak for everyone else on the podcast, right? And Doer's making that decision. And then we're going to probably fire Boss and we're going to hire someone else. Let Doer hire this person again and then let them pick the roster. and then we're just going to keep going through this cycle over and over again of like, you know, we're just going to keep making these decisions. And then you look to the results on the field and they're just not there. We're losing to like not good teams. We're losing to League One teams. We're paying, probably the most expensive roster. We probably have the most expensive roster. Seriously, it's crazy what is going on behind the scenes. If you're a fan, open your eyes and ears, please do, because Sam Doer is ruining this club.
And I think it's kind of like tough because like where we stand from a fan perspective, it's hard to know all the like intricacies of who's doing what decisions are being made by who, like how much somebody has a hand in things, and Sam Dorr, if he is sporting director, he's making a lot of decisions. So you can't really discount that ownership making a lot of decisions, I'm sure, in conjunction. I'm sure that Terry Voss has had plenty of say because we brought in some of his guys. So at the very least, like we've said, hey, you want to pick a few? It's just, I think it's even bigger than Sam Dorr. Like we talked about in like the women's episode that we did last time. I think that it's just a systematic thing with our club. We gotta really figure things out. We have to like put our nose to the grindstone and just stop like replacing pieces every 5 seconds. And that's really, really tricky. So I don't know, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself in our conversation, but like my number one ask right now of the club is consistency. That's what I want right now. Like we tried to like recycle and say like this person's not working and this person's not working. Let's just get a do-over. And I think we're at the point where it's like, you know what? Things are rough. Let's just see if we can make them less rough in the next year or so, and then kind of go from there. And then if it's still bad, then we know what the symptoms are and then what the solution might be. I don't know. It's tough without being in those rooms with those conversations, but it is pretty apparent that like this constant cycling and turnover isn't working. And so if there is somebody, if there is a single entity as part of a club that is really in love with the idea of constant turnover or constant switching, they need to kind of pump the brakes a little bit. I think now is the time for stability, and stability will bring us success at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just my thoughts. But I don't know. Like those departures alone are tricky, especially the Elliot Goldthorpe one. That one just feels very why? You know what I mean? Like Brodelio, we haven't seen him in a while. I don't know if it's because of injury or what, but it was very much like those two. I feel like we're in a lot of conversations very early on. And now we have somebody that's for sure permanently out of the conversation, at least for the foreseeable future. I mean, he's on loan. It's possible he could come back. It happened with Medence, but you just wonder if that's really what's going to go down.
And technically, Goldthorpe is on loan.
Right.
So but also when it comes to Goldthorpe, I mean, good for Tulsa because they got a player that we really enjoyed watching play. Like if he
Yeah.
wasn't in the starting 18, anytime he'd get subbed in, I'm like, sweet,
Mm-hmm.
like we've got Goldthorpe out there now. Okay, like let's go. So good for Tulsa, I guess.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Go for it.
Right. And so I think we're gonna find out that it. I think the club's gonna realize, oh yeah, we shouldn't have done that. So fortunately, it's just a loan.
Right.
But still.
Yeah. I mean, in those situations, there is like sometimes a little bit of tension when you do send a player on loan. Sometimes they want the loan, we don't know. Like any of these players could have been like, hey, can I get a fresh start? It's possible.
I think that's the case more often than not. Like I think Lucas Stauffer, like these guys, I think are a bit relieved, and that's where it's a little concerning.
Yeah.
Right.
And we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. We aren't at training. We aren't, we aren't in the locker room. But it does seem like these are loans because contractually that's like the easiest way to get this player out. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it doesn't seem like, oh, this is a loan to get him some more playing time. This is a loan to, yeah, it's like, I mean, he, especially with Goldthorpe and Stauffer and some of the others, like, even if it's not a loan. But that it seems like it's the easiest way to remove them from whatever equation there is.
Right.
And yeah, stability seems to be like the farthest thing from the club's mind. And it's been like that for a few years.
And how
Mhm.
many times can we just like let that happen where a player doesn't enjoy their time here and they want to leave? And, like Yannick was a mutual termination, and he probably wanted out. Goldthorpe probably wanted more minutes. Lucas Stoffer probably wanted more minutes. Cameron Lancaster probably wanted more minutes. Like these guys all just want to play, and they were probably brought in with the promise of time. And, then we kind of bring in new guys to replace them, and then they don't get the time.
Right.
It's really unfair, like what's happening. And like players are gonna see this, and they are seeing what's going on. And like their teammates, like former players of ours, are telling their teammates. And now the word's out, like, don't go to LSC because you're not going to be treated fairly.
Yeah, I mean, you got to wonder if that stuff's going on, and with all this high turnover, it. I don't know. At this point, we just pretty much have to like work with the hand that we have. I do hope that if we're bringing other people in, that it's pulling people from loan that are in form. Like I said, like you have people like Nico getting regular minutes, pull him in. If you need somebody else that can help on the attack, you have Azad getting regular minutes and contributing to goals with assists and goals of his own. Like get him in if that's what you need. Now, if you don't, and you're like just saying, okay, let's kind of get these players on loan or release them from contract. We kind of have what we need. Let's move on. That's fine. I just kind of am at the point where it's if we just keep doing like what we did with the Super League team and you just bring in too much fresh blood, it just gets so muddy. It gets so muddy. And then it's hard to build confidence with your players and make them feel like, all right, I believe in you. You aren't producing at the level that I know you can, but like this is me showing that I think you can do it. I'm not going to just pull in some random person out of nowhere and replace you. And I think a lot of the players on the team would take it a lot better if we pulled back one of our loans. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, you're part of the squad, and you definitely were in form, and you got a place here for sure, man. Let's compete." Because it sends a very different message in my mind. I think that tells a different story than you just being like, "Hey, I just bought somebody from this other team." Because I don't think that any of you guys are cutting it. But
Right.
that's just kind of like how I would feel.
One thing too I like about this recalling a loan is it kind of makes the club eat crow. And they need to eat crow and say that they were wrong and let this player go out, with Medence. I mean, like, it's clear that they felt that they were wrong with Medence and he was blowing it up in, League One. So they brought him back. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to like say you made a mistake, it's okay to recall a loan because someone's doing well.
I would say though, like I would push back on that and like alone in the true sense is like, a young player, and I think Medence qualifies as that. Obviously, he was the League One Young Player of the Year last year, and Kimball Jackson, these guys that we've like. I think on the surface, alone is for the player's benefit. To get minutes, to get playing time. Like, hey, you're not going to be in our 18 very regularly. Let's get you down and figure out a way for you to get some playing time. So I think there are cases possibly where the club is still utilizing that method, that way to get players some time. I think, unfortunately, we just have this skewed view of it as like the loan has become their mechanism to get a player out, right? Like to get a player away from the club for whatever reason. But I would say, like, just because you send a player on loan doesn't always mean you think like they don't have a spot here. It just maybe means that they currently, don't fit into whatever plan you have. And maybe that is wrong. Maybe you do have to eat crow and but I don't always think it's malicious. I think unfortunately the way it's been utilized by the club has turned it into that from a fan standpoint, because it's like we don't use the loan system, really the way it should be. It should be something where you send a player off, usually a younger player, they're in form, you bring them back. But unfortunately, it seems like it's mostly been just a mechanism to kind of clear the deck with some players.
Brush them under the rug.
It definitely
a little bit.
appears that we're using loans to shop around those guys, like just get them playing time so we can sell them. That's what it feels like. And, I feel that way. John Morrissey put in his, in his write-up for this week, he felt that way too. That's how we are handling things.
Mm.
Yeah. It's tough because once
and I'll say too, like, and just to add, like, it's easy for fans to lose perspective. It's easy for us to lose perspective. There is a bit of, and again, I'm speaking devil's advocate here. There is a business model that these clubs have to utilize to their advantage. Like, you want to have a Josh Winder scenario where a player, comes in, excels, and you sell him to benefit your club. I would say that the recent history of Lexington Sporting Club doesn't suggest that is what's happening. I'm just saying that there is a business model in that sort of bottom line that the club still does have to think about. I don't necessarily think that that's what's taking place. So
I'm not discounting our loan system, or I'm not discounting the loan system. I'm discounting how we have been using them.
Yes,
I definitely agree. Loans should be used to, propel someone's career and let them get more time. And sometimes that is in the club's best interest to sell them and make money for themselves. But right now, we're like not good enough to make money off those players. We need to be cashing in on the players that we have and winning the games, right? We're not going to be able to develop talent if we can't develop results.
Well, especially when a player joined like a couple months ago and they're already out. That's where it's like, to me, it's one thing if you have a Kimball Jackson type player, and I'm just bringing him up again, 18, 19-year-old player that, is truly going to benefit from this. And that ahead of time. But to be like Elliot Goldthorpe signed, hyped up, and then it's, you blink and they're on loan. And I think that's where it's like the whiplash is like, clearly there's something else going on that I think we're on the same page here.
Yes, we are. 1,000%.
I just, it does feel like there's a bit of this kind of, it's not even a bait and switch. It's like, what led you to sign these players in the first place, and what's happened since then? That's just a little alarming to me. Like,
for sure,
you wouldn't enter a business with that type of instability, right? Like, and we're entering into these contracts with players, and it seems like within months it's falling apart.
It does make me a little concerned as well for the overall longevity of the club. And if in making decisions like this, and like Tyler, you've mentioned in the Discord in the past, like for the most part, we've been pretty apologetic. We like come to their defense a lot, and it gets to a point where we're like, all right, guys, what's going on? And we're not the only ones noticing. And at what point do you put, like, as far as the longevity, lose a lot of people because they don't have faith in the club anymore? Like, and you got the people that come out no matter what because they want to support the players, and like we're gonna come out and support no matter what because supporting the players and stuff like that. But also in the back of our minds too is like, is as far as the decisions the club is making and how that it's kind of a weird middle ground, like gray area that we're in.
Yeah, 100% right. Everybody's right. It's just, it seems like bad decision making, and you're basically admitting it whenever you have to loan out these players that you just freshly brought in, and you're like, get excited for this player. They have a great role to fill. And in some ways, I don't know if it's like maybe shiny new toy syndrome, You know what I mean? You like mom gets you that brand new toy, and you're like, this is cool, but then the new version comes out 2 weeks later, and you're like, but I'd actually rather have that version. And then you just throw the other one to the side without really thinking about like why you got it in the first place. Like obviously you like something about it and it should be important, but I think sometimes it feels like that's what we're doing with players. Like they're not the it thing right then and there. And our knee-jerk reaction is buy something new, buy the next model. And if you get the next model, that'll solve your problem, not invest in the previous one. And you know what I mean? Add some upgrades, make it look like, you know, a Fast and the Furious car. So it's just, I wish that we would sometimes think of it that way. Like we bought these players for a reason. We are invested in them. How do we make sure that they're invested in us? And that way it's like a good synergy between everybody in the club and everybody's playing for the club. And it's just, we're losing that stuff. We're just,
Yeah.
and this isn't just from us. Like it's literally all these fans. Like so many people talk to us, and it's the sentiment around the fan base. You know, I'm not saying I talk to every single person that's, you know, there in the 5,000 person crowd, but I mean, between the four of us, we hear quite a lot from other fans, and they're just like, man, what's going on? Why is it this way? Like, why did they bring this person in, or why did they get rid of this person? Like, we thought that they did really great, and so it just, you know, I'm not saying anybody is a person that has run a pro soccer club or a pro soccer coach or anything that says these things. But at the same time, if you have all these people seeing it, like why isn't anybody else seeing it that is actually in a position to do something about it? I that's just a question I feel like we ask every week at this point.
Right. I was just about to say we sound like a broken. I'm like, didn't we just talk about this?
Right. It's just, I don't know.
Oh, we've been talking about this for 2 years. Like,
Yeah.
True,
Eternity.
true.
it's
Eternity.
the same. It's all the same.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And so like at that point it's systematic. It's not like a fluke. It's not, you know, and it's really, really tough because every year whenever you present like this is the year, like get hyped, this is the one, and then you're like, oh, okay, we're 3 years in and we're on our worst winless streak that we've ever had as a club. That does not feel very hype. Like it's really, really tough to really hold that belief and feel good about things. Now, I do have a question. Like maybe if we kind of shift into some of the games, because we had 3 games that happened since the last time we got together. The Tampa game, we ended up drawing. Like they were like the worst of the league. They still, I think, technically are by points.
Yeah, they are. They only have 5 points. We have 8.
Right. Did we, in all honesty, feel better or worse about things after that game?
That game made me feel icky.
Yeah.
Worse, icky.
It felt like a loss.
I felt like we played really good in the game. I will say that. I know that we should have won it because looking at them as like a bottom of the table team, which we are too, so I can't really say much, but looking at them as like the bottom of the bottom, like I feel like it's take it with a grain of salt type of situation where I left the game being like, you know what, the guys played really, really good. I thought that they were connecting well. I thought that they were fast paced. They were pressing. But for all of that, we end up with a draw.
Tie. Yeah.
Yeah, against the worst team in the league.
Right.
And then we kind of like record scratch. Bet you're wondering how I found myself here. And we're playing a League One team in Jaeger Cup. We're up 2 on them. Then we go on to lose in PKs. Icky feeling. Real icky feeling. Like we're losing to a USL 1 team. And I get it. It was technically a draw and PKs, and that's a whole nother thing. But we lost in PKs decidedly. It wasn't like we went like 4 rounds and keepers were taking PKs. It was pretty cut and dry. We lost in PKs, and that was kind of it. And then we have the most recent match. We lose that one as well. When we look at all of these times where we see the team playing well, and we talked about this before, we even feel like the team played relatively well in the most recent match against Monterey Bay. There were some definite flaws, like disconnects between, you know, the midfield and the attack, and we didn't really have an attacking presence really high up in the box. But when you take these string of results and every time you enter it and you're like, we got this, guys, and then we never actually have it, it's just really, really tough. And I asked Coach Boss, like way back after a match, in one of the post match interviews, how do you keep morale up? He told us morale wasn't an issue. It's not a big deal. But, and I think I've said this before, I feel like at this point, morale should be an issue. Players should definitely be feeling like, man, what the heck? And I don't mean like that they should give up and be like, it's worthless and we're not going to try anymore. I mean, in the sense of they need to be fired up and
They
be
should
like,
care.
this is like a historically bad season at this point. Like, it is a historically bad season at this point. We've entered into that realm. What do we do? I mean, because let's just look at like the Jaeger Cup by itself, because I think even people kind of forget about that one. I don't think it's really as hyped up as it was last year, and I don't know if it's just because it's year 2 or because it's such a larger group. Unless I'm wrong, I think we only have 2 more group matches to play, and currently we're sitting in 5th out of 6 teams. We have 1
Yeah.
point.
Correct.
Loudon has 6. Charlotte has 5. Lou City and North Carolina have 3. They've all played the same number of games. So even if we win out, chances are we are not getting a spot in the knockout rounds. Like, Jaeger Cup is, I mean, not trying to be defeatist, but when you look at the top team only needing 1 point to match what we could do if we get 2 sets of wins, and then you have Lou City who needs 2 points for what we can do with 2 sets of wins, chances are pretty slim. They're not nothing, but it's very slim. So you start thinking, okay, well, we crashed out of the Open Cup again. That's kind of out. Jaeger Cup, it's looking pretty bleak. If we look at our regular season standings, like, we are the bottom of the West. Now, technically, we're not the worst team.
Bottom.
Yeah. If you take everything into account, but really that doesn't matter because it's done by conference. So the fact of the matter is we're the bottom of the West, and if we don't climb our way out of the bottom of the West, we're not doing anything at all. So all things considered, and where we're at after 12 games, only having 8 points, like, it starts to beg the question, where do we go from here? And, I think that there are some good things. There are some good things from this match. Like, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but Adedokun, he's probably been the best addition that we've had, like late season addition. Like, I guess it's not that late, but he came later than a lot of the other guys. He's somebody that every time he's on the field, I feel like makes a massive impact. And it's kind of crazy to me that he didn't start at Monterey Bay. I don't know if there's like more to the story with that, but I don't know. Like, he did really good. Xavier Zingue has done pretty decent for us. He got subbed out because, it was getting a little tough with Monterey Bay, but I don't know. Looking at where we are now and the fact that we're now using Medence, that we're using Adedokun a little bit more, they're seeing a little bit more playing time. Ayago is seeing a little bit more playing time, and he's been adding in. Do we feel like we can still right the ship, or are we still feeling a little?
I've definitely hit the panic button on the season, so I think we're kind of cooked. And like, the decision making, why didn't Adedokun start? He's been such a bright spot for this team. I don't know. I think we're just too far gone, and the results just aren't there. And we have a really rough like stretch coming up ahead. Like, soon we have those, what's it, next month we have all those away matches, and like that's going to be super, super rough. And going back to the recent 3 matches, they're all kind of similar, where we were up and then we blew the game, right? And we can't keep saying every week, oh yeah, the team looks really good, and then we don't get the points for it. We can't just keep saying that. Oh yeah, like they played well. Well, did they? Because they didn't win the game, so they didn't play well. I think it's just like such a tired excuse at this point. And the bosses post-match quotes are the same every week. It's like, oh yeah, we're trying. The guys are going out there trying, and we'll get them next time. We didn't get them this time, but we'll get them next time. And it's like, dude, you're not getting them next time. And you got to change something up. You got to like really look inwards, look in the mirror, and figure out that your college tactics are not working in the championship. Like, it's it's so evident that we cannot have this college tactic mentality. We have to play big boy soccer. We can't play little boy soccer. We need to play big boy soccer.
And I feel
Yeah.
like saying that it's kind of a collegiate approach is kind of fair in a lot of ways, because I feel that it's very rigid. I feel in a lot of ways like everybody's kind of lauded this system of like, well, it's very structured and there's a clear vision. And it's like sometimes your vision could be too restricting. And I think that our vision is too restricting in the sense that it's like, we've said this before. It's like, here's what you will do, and you will not deviate from the plan. This is our plan, and this is how we play. And sometimes you just need to say, you are all very talented players. Go ball. Go ball. Here's our tactic. Here's our formation. From there, you do what you feel in those moments. And we're just struggling to do that. You know what I mean? And just talking about, like I mentioned, like Adedokun and how good he's been. Like the dude is like one of our few players that when you look up like stats across the league is anywhere near the top at all. Like successful dribbles. He's got like 3.1 per 90, which is third in the league. When you look at possession one in the final third, he's at 1.2 per 90, which is seventh in the league. Like, and he's got several other contributing factors that show that he really shines for us. Medence's stats haven't really been as up there in the league as his, but I feel like he also has the presence and the ability to be a game changer. And I think that it's really shown since we've gotten him back. We might not have gotten wins, but I feel like he's one of our ones that you're really like, okay, he's on the field. I know we're going to be doing something at least. And kind of the crazy thing that really sticks out to me too is if you think about like things we're doing well, we're winning lots of corners. We're first in the league for corners. We have 76. Now, how many goals do we have off of those corners? Not very many. We're kind of dragging in that regard. Then you look at things like touches in the opposition box. We're second in the league. We have 249 touches in the opposing
You would never know.
18. Right. Which it blows my mind when you think about us having that level of ability to get into dangerous spots. And so we get there, and then you think about our shots on target per match. We're 21st in the league with 3 shots on target per match per 90, right? And so that looks like when we think about our shot conversion rate, 8.7%. 8.7%
There
of
it
our shots
is.
are on target. It's not goals. So when you think about goals, it's going to be even less than that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we keep hearing like everybody being like, yeah, Lexington has the pieces and they're doing things well. We are not doing things well if we're not winning.
Yeah.
None of that matters if we're not winning.
You are what your record says you are. And God bless this commentator on Saturday. I don't know if you guys picked this up in the
Yes.
first half when he
Yep.
tried to like rally the troops by saying that Rhode Island was in a similar spot last year and
Yeah.
made the championship, right?
Right.
Or the finals, I should say.
Playoffs.
Obviously,
Yeah.
championship being confusing.
Right.
And I was like, man, he's not watched a lot of our club this year.
No.
First time, huh? Like type of mentality. But I did appreciate that. Y'all, the last time that this club won was the week of Selection Sunday for the NCAA tournament. Okay, that was the
Yeah.
last time a match was won, and that was
13 matches ago.
against an amateur club, right?
Yes.
Severance was
Oh.
still in season.
Oh my
Like this,
God.
I'm telling you,
The
like,
rehearsal already went through. I already watched all the rehearsal and The Last of Us.
yeah, the Minecraft movie hadn't even come out yet. I'm telling
Chicken
you, this was
jockey.
like
Nobody was yelling chicken jockey.
the baseball fans. We didn't even know what a torpedo bat was. Hadn't even heard of it. Like
Nothing.
I'm telling you, it was so long ago. And if you go back and look at actually don't even do it. It's depressing. Like it is an absolute, just shocking stretch of soccer where you would think you could even like luck into a positive result, 3 points somewhere.
How about against the team who's worst in the whole league, or how about
Couldn't
a
pull it
team in a
off.
lower division?
Yeah.
Like
And-
the way, and I will say this: I did think this past match against Monterey Bay, I actually did. I will agree there were flashes, there were moments. Both of the goals, obviously the first looked a little offsides from the broadcast angle, but we've found out afterwards, was more clearly onside. Fine. The second one, obviously, an unfortunate handball leads to it.
Yeah.
It's the match before that to me, the against in the USL Jaeger Cup,
Jaegermeister.
I guess, against Charlotte, that is like the defining moment of the season where you're 2 goals ahead, and that's a loss. Like I don't care, whatever. It's a point.
It's a
That's a
loss.
loss. That is a
Yeah.
monumental loss. Like not only
Yep.
on the scoreboard, but just the mentality of the team is like such that it means so much more, I think, to have given up that lead and blown the game like that than the simple 1 point, 2 points, whatever, however the points are divvied up. Like to me, that is a crushing loss.
Absolutely
Yeah.
agreed,
and
Kyle.
I think the fans like know that because we know Charlotte and we know we should beat Charlotte now. Like, you know what I mean? Like these are like this club's beneath us now, and it's kind of the same story. So it's just we can talk about the last 3 matches and in the string. And again, there are moments against Tampa Bay and Monterey, fine. Like, but you are what your record says you are. I don't necessarily share the optimism of the broadcaster from Saturday's match. I think I'm in Dylan's camp where, it's bleak, like it is grim. And thankfully Tampa and Hartford are kind of like keeping us a little bit like from being, super dragged, I guess, online. But yeah, it's brutal. And it's funny because earlier on in the season, even before the season, but really once the season started, you had that good result against Hartford, looked pretty good against Orange County, obviously the big dub against Southern Indiana Amateur Club, and now we're picking out spots of the schedule like, this could be tough because, and it's like Dylan mentioned a tough stretch coming up. They're all tough. Like,
Yeah.
we're the worst
Right.
team in the West. Like,
Yeah.
every single match is tough
Yeah.
now. So, like,
Yeah.
I don't know what,
we
which
have to
I guess,
try to claw.
yeah, I guess in a way it's a good thing. You're just like, we're underdogs now from now on. Like, we're underdogs from now on.
Nothing
every
to
match.
lose.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
you can't even look at the schedule anymore. It's just,
No.
you can't even pick out wins. Like you used to be able to pick out some of those. Tampa Bay should have been that, right? Like,
Yeah.
but anyway,
we be staying underdogs.
It's my birthday weekend. I don't want to be depressed on my birthday weekend against
They have to win now. They have to win now. Do not
For
make Jessica
me-
sad on her birthday.
Well,
Be
my birthday's
so
on
bad.
Friday, but for my
birthday
birthday,
weekend
I'm
counts.
like, we're going to a game.
Yes.
We're going to the
So
game.
they can't make you sad.
it's
For
also
real.
Father's Day weekend.
Yep.
That too.
Yep. Don't make my children see me cry. Like I would not be a cool Father's Day. Just so you know, like no pressure, but I might be
So
like, oh, we really are cooked.
it got me thinking, Tyler. You mentioned how rigid the system is, and I started thinking, like, would Darren Powell be a better coach for this group of players? Like,
Maybe.
because there
Who
were times
knows?
last year. I mean, who knows? Yeah, it could be worse. I
Yeah.
guess there were times last year where the midfield was just all like they were all over the place, right? Like you'd be like,
Mhm.
what? Or what? You'd have Ottest playing like, almost on the defensive back line. Like, what is going on here? Like players just all over the place, almost like a total football, schematic. And I wonder if maybe some of that.
Yeah.
Of course, we couldn't connect into the final third and score and win games at that level either. But just makes you think.
Right. Maybe we just need like a happy medium.
Yeah.
Happy medium. Like, man, it's weird to use the word happy in this conversation. It's just like seriously though, like where do we even go at this point? They keep telling us like we'll get there. The fans deserve better, and I love that. Yes, tell me all day, every day, everything's gonna be fine, but also make me believe it. Like, can you make me believe it, please? Because this just feels so different. And like one of the worst things about this though is, I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel there are plenty of players on the squad that have passion, but it makes me so sad that we had such small crowds for the very first year, and those guys had like passion. Like they were
Mhm.
passionate. When we lost, they were pissed. Like they wanted to win so bad, and like they took it to heart, and it was so tough on them. And I'm like, man, what if like they were playing in front of like a crowd of 5,000 people? Like, wouldn't that have been awesome
Mm.
to see? You know,
Mhm.
and I know these guys are trying. It's their job to
Yeah.
try. They want to win. Nobody wants to be part of a losing team. I just need us to figure it out and have some passion behind this. Like to have some heart and to say like this is not good. Like this is unacceptable for us to go out week after week and these people have spent money on season tickets or they bought their tickets like on the fly and they came out here and then we're losing again. And sure, it's exciting. A lot of our matches are exciting. I'll say that. I love it. And there are players, like I said, that you can tell truly care and are like, man, like this isn't good enough. But
Yeah.
it gets to a point where we can't keep hearing the same talking points all the time. And especially I think what really frustrates a lot of fans is that they all feel very rehearsed and
Yeah.
very PR-esque. And I know like as you go up the ladder with professional sports, everybody's a little bit better with PR speak. Everybody's a little bit better with like, well, when somebody asks you about this or whenever there's a tough loss, here are the things you say. And I think sometimes fans just want to hear you be like, that sucked. We were terrible and we're not doing it again. Like we
1,000%, man.
swear we're not doing it again. We are going to make sure this does not happen like this. Like if we lose, it's because like we were in the middle of clawing tooth and nail to get to that goal and it just didn't go our way and you're going to see it. And sometimes we see flashes. We do. But then we just switch off so much. We switch off so much. It's just like having that goal scored on us with Monterey Bay. You know what I mean? We're up there for a set piece and we're not properly prepared for a counterattack. And then we're left scrambling and then we end up getting scored on. And, traditionally, I just think we're not good at set pieces. We're just not. And it's not even like a this year thing. It's like every year. It seems like we're unprepared for set pieces. And I don't know what we do to fix that because we get new coaching staff like every single year, but then we always are bad at set pieces. And, we've even talked about this. We really loved it when like Kieran Sargent was taking corners. Like when he was
Mhm.
taking
Yeah.
corners, I feel like he
They
was
were the most
extremely
accurate.
accurate. Yes. Now, Medin's his are good too. Like I think he's
Yeah.
got some good delivery. Sophie leaves a
Not
little bit to
accurate
be
at all.
desired. I would like to see him like out in the mix because I
Mhm.
feel like he's somebody that will get a hold of the ball and help us make something happen. But it's just our corners and set piece defense and attack both are lacking in a lot of like situations, especially the attack. I mean, against Monterey Bay, we had like 12 corners and didn't capitalize off of any of them. There were even a couple that were like just really unimpressive corners. Like
Yeah, it was
we
almost like
just,
we should have just handed them the ball.
or we like played it short, but we kind of like tinkered around with the ball. We
Yeah.
didn't do anything after we played it short, and then we ended up getting pushed back and had to reset. It just we're getting to that critical point in the season, and I know it feels weird to say this because we're still like only a third of the way through, but like we're at that critical point though where like it's starting to feel like it's going to be very very tough for us to claw out of this.
Mhm.
And we need like a glimmer of hope, and there just hasn't been any. 13 matches without a win, and 4 of those were draws. The other 9 were losses. Like that's
Absurd.
abysmal.
It's starting to feel like that, Tyler. Like it's just now starting for you to feel like that.
I'm an optimistic guy, Kyle. I sit there and I lay awake staring at the ceiling. I'm like, everything's gonna be fine, Tyler.
Yeah.
We're gonna be all right. We're gonna win. It's
Hey,
okay.
don't make me. Hey, I'll break out the math. Remember last season, I had to break
Oh
out
gosh.
math to figure
Oh
out.
man.
It didn't
Oh
look
no.
pretty.
No.
Don't. I
I'll
don't want to
break
be more
out the math
depressed.
again.
Don't depress me yet. No.
One
I mean-
thing, guys, I have a question for you. At the end of games, are you allowed to keep your subs? Like, can you hold them over for next game? Are you allowed
Yes.
to do that?
You accrue
especially
subs.
if you're 3 time zones away. You know,
Yeah, you
after
accrue them.
playing-
Time travel.
Because I
Yeah.
think that's what Terry Boss is under the assumption of, that he can keep his subs after the game because he only made the one sub of Adedokin at halftime, and then he didn't want to adjust the game at all. He really liked what he was seeing. He really liked seeing us lose. Nothing. I don't know.
The fun part of the 18 was not having a backup keeper.
Yeah.
I swear I looked at the lineup and I went and looked at the graphic online. I was like, I couldn't remember
Yeah.
the last time seeing that at this level.
Yeah,
like
that was wild.
Yes.
what
It was the
what
inverse of the
plan?
last women's game. Like that last women's game when we had three keepers on roster. And like this time we're like, we're going to go with one.
And there was one moment in the game where I got really nervous, and that because Brooks' like foot got caught, and the guy was holding onto it, and he pulled his foot out. So I was like, oh no,
Yeah.
I had to kind of like hold my breath there for a minute. Like,
and it's like a mystery of like what even was like the reason behind that. And like everybody's like, where's Ketterer? Which my assumption, and this is totally an assumption, I don't know for sure, but like where he hit his head on the goalpost against Charlotte, I think he was playing concussed. I think that they were just like, get back in there, champ. And realistically, he probably should have been pulled out of the game.
He thought he was Batman, probably.
Yeah,
the goal.
Yeah. Because like that's truly my only guess as to why we would not have him at least in the 18 is that he was in concussion protocol. I don't know, because otherwise that is an absolutely wild move to travel away and not have a backup keeper. I don't know if they were just gonna like have Edrey Caceres put on some gloves and go out there and see what was gonna go down or what. But like,
isn't he like 5'7"?
Yeah, short king goalkeeper.
Short king goalie. He would have it locked down, Kyle. You don't feel like you believe, right? He would have done it. But that is a definite move to make unless you're just your hands are bound.
yeah.
But even for us to not have like somebody that we could pull up from like another squad,
you don't have like anyone on the League Two or
Griffin Huff.
Yeah,
ever heard of him?
Do we have this guy? Keeper? We do have a third keeper. No,
not technically.
Not like technically. Yeah, no. Whatever. It would have been a good time to have them all. But anyway, I just
sad face.
Any direct flights from Cary to?
Yep, he's heading from TST. I wish. I don't know. We feel so stagnant, y'all, and everybody keeps asking like, "What do we do? What's the solution?" And I'm like, Matt, I don't know. And once again, I have to reiterate, I don't know. This is probably going to get some people fired up saying, I don't know that like us going to clean house and saying this isn't the right person for this job and this isn't the right person for this job. I don't know that is the solution because we've tried that too many times already and we're still in the same place. So as much as I don't like where we're at, and I feel like people do need to answer for it. Like people need to have some really tough conversations and be like, look, this is not what we need to be doing. I know we moved up a level to the championship, but still we built a championship squad with people from the championship, minus some people that came from USL 1 or college, which whatever, obviously they felt the talent was there. I just want those tough conversations to happen and to say, now we are going to push forward and we are going to keep consistency. We're going to finish out this season. And at that point, if you can't find a way to make something work, like we go through the rest of the season winless, like, okay, sure. But I don't know. I feel like we need to hold on to whatever consistency we can hold on to and hopefully reap some benefit from it. Because I don't know. I don't know what else to do because our past techniques are just not great. And maybe they would be. Maybe this whole technique of let's turn the whole system over and get all brand new people would work better if we were choosing the right people in the first place. And I just feel like we're not always doing that. And so this is kind of what we're left with. We don't really have a better decision in my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough. It's tricky, guys. It is what it is. And I think that, like Kyle said, there are no more, that one might be a tough game. That one could be a tough game. Like they're all tough games at this point. We have shown the league that anybody can get a win off of us. Anybody can get a win off of us. And we have the tough job. We have to show that is not going to remain factual for very much longer. And, I just can't go another year with us finishing like bottom of the table or near the bottom of the table, or like our faux relegation battle last year where we weren't really going to get relegated, but like, everybody was threatening the wooden spoon and being like, you're going to win this year. And it literally came down to like the last match or two where we finally were like, oh gosh, we weren't dead last. Thank goodness. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't think that, like, we just don't deserve it as fans. Like, it's amazing that we have a shiny new stadium. It's amazing that we have all these nice things. But we don't have wins. And those might be some of the nicest things of all, like having some pride in your club. It's really,
Right.
really tough whenever you go out in your LSC gear and everybody's like, hey, you guys are that team that loses all the time, right? And I'm like, yeah, but we got a shiny stadium. It's nice. You should come out. And they're like, nah, I really don't want to go watch people lose. And it drives me crazy, y'all. I just feel like we got to get it together.
What's like really, really frustrating to me is losing to the teams that are not even in the same like tier as us. Like we left the Open Cup from Columbus Crew 2 and we're getting played around with in the Jaeger Cup by League One teams, like, and I worry about when we play Richmond, like honestly, I worry about that because like Kyle said, not every match is, like every match kind of just appears to be a loss at this point, and losing to like the Open Cup really soured my opinion, and losing that Jaeger Cup game really soured my opinion. Like we cannot be spending all this money getting this championship roster and then it not working out. It just
those losses felt, they just, like I said, they just felt like more than one loss, right? Like they really hit. It seems like it. And again, calling the Charlotte one a loss, but
it is.
It is a loss.
Those felt like they counted for more.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know, y'all. I'm still trying to keep hope alive, but it's getting tough week after week. And again, I would rather just like hear, if they're not going to like show it after the games, I'd rather hear some like honest, passionate answers about why things are the way they are. I don't know if I can go another round of being like, well, I don't think we played bad. Well, I don't think that like things are that bad. I think that I see great things in training, and I'm like that. Yes, I get it. Yes, I know they're not bad players. I know they probably do great in training. I know that like you believe in them, we believe in them, but I also want us to just like see something real and be like, we are going to do this. Like everybody understands that they are playing for the city. And like, if we're going to actually build a fan base and retain a fan base that actually spends money and time every weekend to be here, this is all just not good enough. And we're going to make a culture of like, this is how we take this path. Like, this is how we all together make this good enough, and again, it can't be just buy the next new shiny thing. It has to be like you show players that they are a part of something, and that like everybody's going to be part of that something, and everybody is going to play for this thing. And there's always going to be a player or two here and there that are just in it because it's a job, and it's like, well, I'm just here to make some money and move on. But like, if you can get at least like 90% of the players, especially the starters, truly invested in being like, you're wearing a badge that represents something beyond you just being on that field, and you need to feel that. And if you don't feel that, you probably should not be playing a sport for a profession. Like you probably just need to go somewhere else and play, or just work for a company where none of that matters. It just I don't know. The second vent session in a row. But you know what? Like maybe this weekend we'll finally experience a win, and then it'll be fine. We won't have to vent next week. We can just like hype up everything that's happening. But I guess there is like a little bit of hype. Like Nick Firmino's goal is up for goal of the week, which is super cool. It was a banger. Like what the heck? Like Cam Lancaster, who? Like it's like he stole his powers when he left or something. That was a really amazing goal off of a free kick.
It was, yeah.
Like the way it dipped and swerved, like beautiful.
Well, and I'm glad we're taking shots like that, because there are times where it's like, well, let's try to, do something like, lob it over here for someone to try and get a header. It's like, no, we just need to go for it.
Go for
Like,
goal.
Yeah. That's like Matty Perez's goal. And they were taken from similar spots. And
They were.
yeah, they were both amazing.
It's true. So I hope everybody at least votes for that, because that could be like at least a little glimmer of a bright spot in all this stuff. We can be like, one of our players got goal of the week. And I mean, I will say it should count for something that it was a goal of that magnitude against a player like talking about Nico Campuzano, who is perpetually getting save of the week. Like he has like 1 million at this point. So the fact that Nick managed to get one over on him, I think that should count extra. Swerved it over the wall and past Nico. It's Nick's.
And if we were to talk about a positive as far as results go, in one of our previous episodes talking about we're not taking shots, we're not scoring, we are starting to score more.
Yeah,
we're not winning, but we are scoring goals. So I think that's one. I think also bright spot is at least we're not losing. It's not a shutout. So
yeah, that's true. This ray of sunshine brought to you by Jessica.
Hey.
We are scoring goals and we are in the lead occasionally and being made to feel something before it's snatched away, and then we are tossed back into the chasm of despair. The green chasm of despair.
Like you get an ice cream cone and someone comes over and goes, "Ugh," knocks it out of your hand.
Smashes
you don't get to enjoy that ice cream cone.
And they sit me in front of a TV and they make me watch all the heartbreaking goals that our club has had over the years. They're like, watch this one. It's in the last 2 seconds. And I'm like, no, not again. And then like Jamie Smith is there and he's like, what's up, mate? And I'm like, whoa, Jamie Smith, what are you doing here? So
I don't get that reference.
Oh,
former green.
We gotta send you some clips.
Okay.
We gotta send you some clips of old Jamie Smith and all the terrorizing he did back in the day.
I want to give a shout out to the guy who got the Elliot Goldthorpe kit. Thinking of you, buddy. Thinking of you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know. That was like one of the most heart-wrenching things to see. It was like we thought it was bad when we did the Luke Stauffer interview, and then like a week later they're like, he's not with the club anymore, just so you know. But man, he went and got personalized kit with Goldthorpe on the back, and now he's not here.
Got it personalized? I thought it was like he'd gotten the training top or something like that.
No. He got a kit and got Goldthorpe on the back. And yeah, man, that is why I don't get player names on the back of kits. As much as I love them, like I love many of our players, past and present, but I never will get a player name on the back of a kit because I don't want to be heartbroken.
I've got a bad streak with it. It got to the point where I got an Andrew Luck jersey as a gift, and the dude retired at 29 years old, like a month later. I was like, I'm out. I'm done. That was the last one. I know it wasn't my fault, but I'm also kind of like, it maybe was my fault. Like, what do you do?
I think it was your fault.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
Or the lacerated kidneys and separated shoulder.
All yours.
You got that kit or that jersey though. It was you.
Yep.
Yeah, I just don't do players. That's why I have one that says Powell on the back, and everybody's like, Aaron, and I'm like, no, Jessica and Austin. Austin, the guy who makes all the 3D printed cup holders. That's why I got this.
He's gonna love that shout out. He's gonna love it.
Is he still gonna be listening? We've been going for a minute now. This is depressing.
So I'm sure he's asleep, but he does listen to the episodes once they've released. Yeah, he's definitely he's
just
not
a ray
a
of sunshine. Yeah.
I'm ready for his next iteration of the cup holder. That's what I'm looking forward to in the next home match. Like that right there is the new cup holder by Austin Powell that we're gonna hook onto that chair, and it's gonna be perfect. And then boom,
here's one.
Gets his contract with LSC. They ask him to make 7,000 of them. That's how you guys fund the pod from here on out.
So this one he made for like in the supporter section,
In the
like
front row?
in the very front, yeah.
Yes.
And this one's just to like hang over the back.
Wait,
So
Tyler,
I only have
you-
two.
you just said that's how you fund the podcast going forward. Are you leaving us?
Yeah.
What?
What was that?
I fund us? I mean, with
That's
my
how you
humor?
guys.
Oh.
You said
Oh,
that's how
no.
you guys. Is it?
No. Oh, my bad. Us. No, I'm
Okay.
not leaving. I'm not leaving. Jeez. Gosh, scaring everybody.
You're gonna start paying us?
With friendship, the power of friendship is gonna fill your hearts. And when you look into your empty
No
wallets,
thanks.
just think about how much bigger your wallet would have to be if it could fit all that friendship. I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm not paying you.
On that
Oh
note.
man. Oh yes, we had to end on a happy one. Okay. Whew. So, got W League matches going on. We got USL 2 matches going on. USLC matches going on. We know that the chances of you feeling happy after leaving W and 2 are a little bit higher than USLC, but still come because just think about it. Whenever we get to our 18th game winless in a row, when we go to number 19 and we win by 30 goals, everybody's going to jump on that hype train.
Please don't put that out in the universe.
I'm just kidding. Hey, I'm doing reverse psychology here, Jessica.
Like, okay.
I'm trying to say that we're gonna win next weekend. Anyway, we're gonna win. Everybody's gonna be there. We're gonna win. It's gonna be awesome vibes. It's gonna turn our whole season around. We're gonna look at this episode and be like, why did we even make that? That was
I would happily eat crow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we all would.
I would let the club shave my head in the middle of the field at halftime to repent. So you can mark that down first of all. But seriously though, I hope everybody does come out. I don't think got to do a plug too. I don't think it's too late to still participate in the Pride Raiser with the Railbirds. I think that you still technically can go in and retroactively submit whatever it is that you want to commit to each of the goals scored, which right now is a pretty decent amount. It's rolling. So maybe we'll see some more goals, although we have one less team contributing because Super League is over for the season. But still, we got three different teams that are going to be scoring. So go scope that out if you have a chance. Go to the Railbird socials. It's on there. You guys can find it pretty easily. Otherwise, I don't know. Final thoughts besides just come out and join us in supporting the team.
And hey, Deanna, if you're sleeping, you can wake up now.
Yes, because the outro is going to be way louder than us talking, and it will wake her up. So get ready for this one. All right. So, well, then on that note, until next time when we get all together and we celebrate a win, you know what it is. Come on, you Greens.